Hey everyone, I'm Minji and I'm a freshman Spanish tutor here at Peer Tutoring Club. Thank you for clicking on my first lecture, and it's called From Hola to Mastery Learn Spanish the Minji Way. So let's get into it. Today's lecture is all about how you introduce yourself to people and friends. So, cómo presentarse en español, nacionalidad, edad y personalidad, which translates to how to introduce yourself in Spanish, nationality, age, and personality. Vocabulario es importante para describir la persona. Important vocabulary to describe an individual. We're also going to learn about that. And in this case, is describing your personality and choosing the best adjective that fit your character. So, ¿cómo presentarse en español? Párrafo de ejemplo, example paragraph, which I wrote myself. Hola, mi nombre es Minji, soy de Corea. Or, soy coreana y tengo 14 años. Yo soy sociable, pero también vaga. So, translation in English is, hello, my name is Minji, I'm from Korea. Or, I'm Korean, and I'm 14 years old. I'm friendly, but also lazy. So I highlighted with this neon blue the two really important key key lessons that we're gonna take away from this lecture, which is soy de Corea or soy coreana, and how you describe your personality. These two are really, really fundamental in Spanish, and I'm also going to show you some examples and common mistakes, really how students frequently get points off because they use these type of mistakes that you shouldn't. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I highlighted is soy de Corea or soy coreano, coreana. So these sentences, phrases are really, let's say, cola and Pepsi. They're very similar, but they're different, right? So the first phrase is soy de Corea, which translates to I'm from Korea. And the second sentence is soy coreano or coreana, which translates to I'm Korean. You can use both. I'm telling you this right away. You can use both. It doesn't matter in either one, right? But a common mistake that most students make is soy de coreana, which translates to I'm from Korean, which is totally wrong. You shouldn't do this. No, okay? So as I do this lecture, I thought about a tip for you guys to take away from my lesson. So my tip, as I'm currently studying Spanish, is you really have to get the fundamental and basic essential things first, and then you can move on, and how you're gonna achieve and succeed the basic things. Example, how to conjugate verbs or adjectives. A tip that really helped me is really memorize your stuff, guys. Really, really, I'm telling you. If you memorize it, it becomes really simple. You know all the vocabularies, simple but basic but fundamental also in the conversation. You can use it really a lot. Or like just memorize one of these two phrases. Soy de Corea, memorize it. Done. It takes literally minutes, okay? Or soy coreano or coreana. Just, I think memorizing is such a fundamental part in a foreign language, and that's my tip for this lecture that I want you guys to stress and highlight. Also, I highlighted soy coreano and coreana. So this is such a common mistake. Again, it's another mistake, but people confuse this often because in foreign languages like Spanish or Italian or like languages that derive from Latin, the verbs are both in male masculine form and feminine form. So don't forget that, because if you're a male, you should be using soy coreano, and if you're a female, you should be using soy coreana. This tricks a lot of students during exams, so don't forget that, and you can memorize it always. And then el carácter, which is personality. It's another part that I highlighted for this lecture. So as you can see, I listed the most common and frequently used personality traits that most people would describe themselves. So simpático, simpática, antipático, antipática, tímido, trabajador, trabajadora, vago, vaga, sociable, tranquilo, tranquila, paciente, impaciente. I noticed that there's a mistake. So tímido, it should be tímido or tímida. But other than that, the like words that end with e, they can both be applied to two genders, so masculine and feminine. But notice that there's a mistake. So if you're a male, you should be using tímido, and if you're a female, you should be using tímida. Sorry for that. And a common mistake when describing personality is people don't often use the verb, like the corresponding verb with the adjective. In this case is yo sociable, which translates to I friendly. In this case, we can look at an example of English language. Even if you translate it in English, I friendly, you should be using a verb, right? I am friendly, ma. I am this or that. I am impatient. You should be using I am always. This is the same with Spanish and all the other languages in the world. Use the verb, okay? And remember which verb you should be using, because there are many like circumstances where you need to use different verbs with different adjectives. For example, when here we're looking at personality, but when you're describing mood, you should be using another verb that I can further explain in another lecture, which is estoy when describing mood. But since we're describing personality today, we shouldn't be getting confused. So when you're describing personality, you should be using soy. Personality and character. With soy is I am, and soy is the verb, and you can conjugate it with yo, tú, él, ella, usted, and all the other pronouns that I'm also gonna be diving into other lectures in the future. So example is soy sociable, which is I'm friendly. So that is the correct one. So make sure to use the verb and memorize the adjectives, most of the adjectives. Okay. Now let's get into on how you can structure your paragraph and how you can introduce yourself. So the first one is saludos, which is greetings. You have to say hi. Just you can start with saying hi, hola, hi. The second one is nombre, which is name. Mi nombre es Minji. Mi nombre es Rebecca, or something like that. My name is. Then nacionalidad, nationality. We looked over this. Soy de Corea, or soy coreano or coreano. But you might also ask, but Minji, I'm not Korean. Like, how do I do that? And I wrote an example. If you're from United States, soy de Estados Unidos, or soy americano, americana. And then the fourth one that comes along the three before is your age. Tengo blah 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 años. I am blah 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 years old. And describir tu carácter, which is describe your personality. Soy blah blah blah. I am, and you can add the adjective. By looking at this structure, you can tell that it's really limited. And if you're not, let's say you're not Korean, or you're not American, or you don't know even how to say your age in Spanish, or you didn't memorize your adjectives and describe and how you need to describe your personality, I got your back, guys, because I wrote all the important vocabularies that are commonly used mostly at DIS. So nacionalidad, nationality, most DS people are either like American, Japan, like mostly from the Asia, or in my case, they're also from Europe. So the China, you can say soy de China, or yo soy chino. In this case, chino can also apply to both genders. And then soy de Italia, or soy italiano, italiana, or soy de Japón, or soy japonés or japonesa. And in that, I try to go from age 1 to 20, which is like right where our school, like we adolescents are, and students are DIS are mostly that range between the age. So unos, dos, tres, cuatro, or I wrote 4 2 times. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 y 20. So remember that from 16, the structure is a bit different, which is 16, which is 10 and 6, but it's like 16. So yeah, just another tip that you guys can use. Just you guys, it's good to know because from 15 and 16 are kind of different from 16 and 20, because they have different forms from unlike 10 to 15. So just a heads up. And then personality, you can use simpático, simpática, antipático, antipática, tímido, tímida, trabajador, trabajadora, y vago, y vaga. So these are some of the important vocabularies that I wrote down when describing yourself. And thank you so much for whom clicked on if you clicked on this lecture and learned Spanish the Minji way. And I'm so excited to be sharing new lectures with you guys. So see you on the next one. Thank you.